this is part 4 of our scalloped squared memory book. We've worked on the front cover, and we've done the spine and the back cover, and we've also done our closure. We then did the inside of the front cover on camera, and then I just did the other one, which is the back page off camera. Because this is quite a big, it's going to be quite a long memory book, because I've got quite a few. There's like 16 sort of sides. There's sort of 8 pages in this one. So what I'm going to do is, I've done it before in some of my tutorials. I make a page off air or off camera, and then we make one together. You know, I'll show you the process through it. So that way, then we can the memory won't sorry, the series won't last too long then if I do it that way. So for this video, what I thought we'd do is we're going to make this page here. Now this page is using the chevrons, which is the stitch chevrons. They're these ones. These are one of those dies that you're going to wish that you had earlier. It is just really versatile. You can do so much with it. And even if, like for instance here, I've cut them out to make our sort of flaps here, but you can also then use the offcuts. So the cuts that come off of it, so say for instance that is like that there, these then become a pocket, so you can use them as a pocket. So you're sort of getting 2 pages really for the price of one, so to speak. So we're going to be doing this here, and I've just decorated it with some chalk paint. I quite like the pixie powder, so I think I'm going to stick with pixie powders, and we're going to do that just because on the back I want the 2, and obviously on the front I want the 2 pages to match. So this then will become a page in, you know, later on in the book, where we can have 2 very similar pages together. So what we need now, you need to have the Stitched Collection Scalloped Layered Squares. You need those. So you'll need the big die, and then the square one that is the die down. Right, so as you'll notice on the dies, it looks like you've got like 2 dies of each sort of design. You have an effect. One of them is the top, and one of them is a bottom cut. So what I would suggest you to do if you've got these dies is to die cut each of them on a spare piece of card, and then keep them with them, and then you'll know which die is for which thing, because they look very similar. So that's what I did to start with. So we're going to be using this die here, which is the one with all the holes in, which is this one. So it's going to create like a flag effect. Now you can use these for bunting as well. That would look nice, so you'd have a flag that way. Or you could have them and you could use this point, so that you would have more of a sort of a flag type bunting as well. So you could make your own bunting, which whatever size you want to. So that's another way to use them. But we're going to use them as our flaps, and this is how we do it. Now first of all, we need to cut out our straight edged square. So that then is going to create our base. Now we start from the top and then we work down. So let's go ahead and die cut that square. Die cut the square 5 times. Okay, so we've cut out 5. We needed 5. So we now need to get our chevron, and you need to make what you need to really figure out where you're going to put your how big you're going to have them, so to how many you have. Now I'm gonna probably have one that's about here, so I'm just going to count down the faux stitching so that they're equal on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it needs to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So then we can just sellotape that down and very carefully put it onto your die cutter. And as you can see, you can use that when you come to do pockets. So you know, you get, so I've already got another page already done with these, so keep those. So you'll need then this one again. Now I'm just going to bring you down just a touch. Hopefully you'll be able to see a bit more what I'm doing there. So you need to get then your next square, and you need to try and get them so that they are virtually level, like so. And I'm just going to use a binder clip just to keep them secure so they don't move while I'm just taping it down. Okay, so stick that on there like so. So now we can go ahead and put, now we get a black piece of card, there we go, just so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So what we need to do is you'll place the chevron so that it butts up but doesn't go over the edges of the one that you've just cut. And that then will give you a really nice gap between the two sort of pockets. So I'm just going to take that away so that I can just tape this one down. Go, so just tape that down. Take your binder clip off, take that away, and then you can die cut that then. And then that's your next one. So they are going to be looking a little bit like that. Okay, so they're perfectly in line, and then you've got your next pocket there. I'm just going to tap the excess out. Okay, now we go on to the next one. So the next one, we then take the one that we've just done, and that is going to act as our template. Okay, so again, just butt it up so that it's nice and level. Then we can go ahead and just butt these ones up to, butt this one up to that. And take this one off and that one, and then we can die cut that. So that's 3. I've got one more to do, and then we can think about putting it all together. So again, just hold them together and so. And then that's all the chevrons sort of done. Our flaps. So I'm just going to move these ones out of the way, put them away in there. And the next thing we need to do is we need to then just cut our hinge strips. Now you could score down and have 1/2 inch off these, but then you're going to cut down on your available space that you're going to work on. So that's why I do the hinge strips. Now the hinge strips I cut, so I'll cut 4, and there will be 4 3/8 of an inch by 1 inch. So if we cut those, okay, so that's our 4. Now what we need to do, we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then this is going to give us our fold. Let me just find my folder. Okay. So score at 1/2 inch, and let me put you back out again. Oops. There we go. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then just fold them over, and then again score them in the middle. So that's it, and put these away. Okay. So them done, we can go ahead and attach them to our chevrons. Now I'm just going to use the 1/4 of an inch score tape, and I'm just going to put it on one side for the moment. Okay, so we can attach it to then our chevrons. And this we do, we just line the edges up together so that they are level. Don't worry about you have these corners here. We can round them off with our scissors when we come to stick them down. Okay, there's 2. I'm very quiet tonight. These make good, these do make lovely pages. You could also use these as a flap. You don't need to just use these as I'm using them. We might do a flap with these later on in the book. I wanted to just show you really, if you've only got a few dies, what you can do with those dies. So I'm just now trimming off those corners, just rounding them around just so that they're a bit neater on the outset. Now I don't know what medium I'm going to use. Right, I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. I've just discovered this milk, Oatly, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's dairy free. Oh, and it's in coffee. It's so creamy. It's lovely. So it's my new thing now, I think. Okay, so that's those bits done. Now we can now go ahead and maybe start to decorate. Right, I'm going to use pixie powders to colour my square. So I've picked Aqua Lagoon and Candy Pink. Okay, and I'm hoping that these will create a lovely colour effect. Now pixie powder, it's a dry mica pearl and a dye mix. It's great for creating shimmering colourful effects on any porous surfaces. So it says I've got to shake the bottle first, so I didn't do that. So shake the bottle. I suppose that's just to mix it all up. Right, and then you just apply it like you would like a salt and pepper pot. So sort of tap it and it just comes out. It depends on how much you want to how much. I mean, that's lots there, so I'm going to put some of the, didn't shake that one. There we go. Then I'm just going to add our water. Now you'll be able to see, hopefully you'll be able to see, if I bring you down a bit more, quite quickly, there we go, move that off. You should see the water reaction. So more water, obviously you get the colour runs more and it merges. Okay, and you can create, look at this beautiful purple colour here. Right, I'll just bring you up, otherwise I'll forget that I've got you down so low. Okay, now I'm just going to dry that off. I just want to add a bit more water just to make that run a bit. Now I'm going to dry it off, but first of all I'm going to maybe use that, I don't want to lose that beautiful colour, so I'm just going to do a mop up. So that is a lovely shimmery sort of background. I don't know if hopefully you can see the shimmer in there. Just there you can maybe see it, just shimmering. Now I'm going to add a little bit of picked raspberry just to the outside edge of my square, because I just want to frame it a little bit, and I think this will frame it really well. There we are. So that then is the square done. So we can put that to one side. Now we need now to do our chevrons. Okay, let's go with a bit of colour cloud. So I'm just going to put these away so that they don't fall over and spill. So I've got decadent teal and decadent grape, pretty in pink, and vanilla twist. So let's go with the pretty pink, and again I'm just going to add bits to the chevron flap. Okay, just bits, and let's go with a bit of the teal. This is quite a dark colour, so I don't suppose I'm going to need an awful lot of this. This is going to create a lovely purple, I know it is. And carry on with that bit around there. Just add a bit more pink in there, just to turn that a bit more purpley. These blend like a dream, these colour clouds. So let's move on to our next one. Now I'm going to use the grape. So it's like a nice deep purple, and blue I think look nice with this. So a bit of purple. Actually let's go all the way over. Let me just find the blue. Turquoise purple. That sounds a nice colour. This one's sort of leaked. Oh, I like that effect. The purple has gone through the faux stitching, so it looks like it's proper stitching. That's really clever. I like that. Okay, it's just that one. Give that a little. Just. So we want this one, and I'm going to do this green all over, I think. Okay, right, we're on to our third chevron that we've coloured. I've coloured it with the decadent teal, just that. Now I'm going to do the other side as well, and I'm going to just do it in the one colour and then just add the extra bits of colour, like so. Now if you wanted to, you could make another, you could die cut another one of these, and so that you can cover this, but for just the purpose of the video, I'm not going to. So you can just cover all your workings so that you don't see obviously your hinge strip here. Yeah, might add a little bit of purple. I'm going to turn a lovely like shade of like bluey purple just around the edges there. These do really blend beautifully, I will have to say. Yeah, and I'll just do this side. Okay, so then that's the next one done. So we've got the last one now to do, and I'll bring these into shot. We can see what we've done so far. So we've got that one on the top that's nice and shiny, and then we've kind of gone just a bit more matte with the rest. Okay, so we just need to do the last one, and I'm going to stick with the purple again. So I'm going to go with the purple and just have it in the one colour again. I quite like this sort of matte sort of shading. Okay. Right, do the underside. There we are, getting there slowly but surely. Okay, and then, oh, I should do this bit here. There we go. Right, so that's that one. I'm going to go with the, what's this one? This is the turquoise pool, and then that will give sort of another shade to our purple. Okay. And again on this side. Okay, so that's then all of our pieces done. Now I may actually, which I'm going to do, I'm going to change this top one. I'm not that happy with the way this one has turned out. Where I've got, it doesn't seem to have dried for some unknown reason, so I don't know what I've got extra on there. So I'm going to recut this one, and then we'll redo it. Okay, what I've done is I've changed the top one, as I wasn't too keen on it. So I've changed it, and so I've made them near enough all the same. So they all coordinate. Apart from the back, sort of the back square, I've left that as pixie powders because I quite like that shot of colour really, and the shot of the sort of the sparkle and the shimmer that shines through. So now what we need to do is we need to then put our double-sided tape along the hinge, and we're just going to hinge it up. So if we put our double-sided tape on, okay, so we start with the top one, and I'm going to just put it on to our base card, and I'm going to try and get it so that it is just level with the top there, like so. And then what I'll need to do is just trim these edges round so that they coordinate with the die underneath. Okay, so they're just rounded off. So that's your first one. Now you need your second, this one that goes second, like so. But before we put this down, we are going to have to put a magnet on. Now the magnets I'm using are a 1mm by 10mm, so they're 1mm thick by 10mm wide. They're quite strong. The only thing I find with these is if you've got a lot of bulk, they do tend to lose their magnetic field, so to speak, because it's too much for the magnet to go through. So what I tend to do with that is I just add two together, okay, like so, and then we can stick that. So go ahead and stick that down. Like so. Okay. Get there in a minute. Now you will end up with a bit of a lip, but you're not going to get away with that. Now I've just noticed I didn't ink this background up, so just quickly do that now. Oh, I'm going to end up with the circles. But that doesn't matter, it's actually quite a good, I've got a nice border around that now. I quite like that, I might do that on the next ones. So then we put this one on, so you get your next flap, and then that one just fits then underneath the one that you've just done, like so. And I'm going to ink this up as well so that you end up with the use that. You end up with these circles underneath. There we go. And then we have this last one, and then that one goes under at the bottom. Now you will have a bit of an overhang, but that we can just use the bottom of the square as our guide, and we can just trim that bit off. Okay. So it looks a little bit like that. So I'll just trim that off there, like so. Now we're going to create then the belly band that goes around, that's going to hold it in place. Now this one I cut at 1 3/4, which is the back layer, and this layer in here, that is 1.5 centimeters, sorry, 1.5 inches. Okay, I've just found some offcuts of card so that we can do our sort of belly band type thing. So the black we need to do at 1 3/4. Okay, and then the white one, we need to do that at 1.5, like so. And then this is where when we keep all our offcuts of paper, it comes in handy then. So that then is going to be our belly band. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round the edges. Now I did have a crocodile corner jumper, but I don't know what I've done with the round one. Maybe it's in my box. Is that one? There we go. So I found it now. Okay, because it does come, they do come in different, you get different corners. Like the one on here, I used the deckled edge one. I've got another one, so this is that one, and this gives you rounded corners, deco or snub, which you know, is another handy thing to have. But I'm just going to use the normal rounder, and this one is 1/4 or 1/2, and I'm just going to use the 1/4 rounder on this one, so it just gives you a nice rounded edge. Okay, like so. Okay, so that just finishes that off there. Right, so we need to then put a magnet onto the back of, or say the back, not so much the back, onto the onto your black card, and then that's going to obviously hold in place so you can move it about. So I'm just going to add a bit of glue just to keep that in place. So there we go, and that will hold it. And then when I come to then redecorate this, then that's going to hide that magnet. Okay, now for the bottom bit, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to bend it over so that you get a nice straight score. But then I'm just going to on the back here, I'm just going to reinforce that score with just a bone folder, like so, and then that will then hopefully keep it all nice and secure. Okay, and then that is then going to hold that in place, so you can lift this up, and then these lift up as well. Okay, so before we put that on, we need to decorate this, and then we also need to put our stamps on for our background images. So this, I think I'm going to go with the lighter colour, which is this one, I think. Or it might be, I think it might be pretty in pink, I think I might have used. So I'm going to use the pink. And now, because my sponge has got a bit of the purple on, I've ended up with a lovely light purple, like a grape sort of colour. I actually quite like this colour. It is, it's very nice. Reminds me of a Copic colour. I can't think what the colour is now. It's like a purpley. I think it is actually called grape. So I'm going to just add a bit of the, not that colour, there we go, a bit more of the, I think this one is turquoise pool, and it's just going to give me a nice contrasting colour, or maybe not contrasting, more of a complementary colour. Oh, wrong one. It's that one, isn't it? Now you could put this through your embossing, put it through an embossing folder. That would look nice as well, which we could do. And that would just make it look a bit different, but which I think I probably will do. But before I do that, I think what I'll do is I'll put our background stamps on. So I'm just going to use some of the archival inks, which is the distress ones. I really like these ones. They're really nice. So we use a purple, and I think we'll use the Mermaid Lagoon, and yeah, I don't know about the pink. I'll get that one out. I might use it, might not. And then just get the background stamps that we've got. Now these ones are just these are Lisa's ones again. I do like using these as background stamps. Now I've put a couple of different sets in this one packaging because I use them so much, so I tended to I've kind of mixed and matched a little bit. Right, seeing as I've now sorted all my stamps out, I thought we'd use some background stamps. So this is the background slices from Lisa Horton, and we're going to use this dot one. Now this dot one is got like cubes, sort of cube grid on it, and then it's got some like the Ponchinella in here as well, some splats, some ink splats. So it's a really good detailed stamp. Now you don't need to use it all, you can just use parts like what I do. I tend to use just you know, just like areas of it. So I might just use the top bit with the cube grid on, and all you do is you just random. Don't have to be very precise doing this. The more random that you are, the better that you get. So you can see a bit of that Ponchinella coming through, like so. And then I might then use these small, well, say small, sort of the splatters, and they will give just a different feel to it. And you can do like second generation stamping, that's also very good. And then change up the colour that you use. So I'm going to go in with a bit of the Mermaid Lagoon, and I'm going to do the sort of the lines, and then you'll see that it'll end up, you know, you'll get, then that's how you start to build your layers. Now you could add a bit of white on that as well. That would, you know, sort of areas that will make it stand out as well. But I'm going to go around the edges with some of the pink, the picked raspberry, and just to highlight areas. So yeah. There. And then you'll see I might add some black actually. Let's do some script but in black. Now with the script, the only thing I would suggest is that you try and get it as straight as possible. Otherwise you will look at it and you'll go, it's not straight. Okay, just in areas. Okay, and then you see that it just brings a bit more depth to your piece. Okay, quite liking that as it is now. Right, make sure my stamps go back in the correct stamp set. And then what I thought we would then do is with this one, we're going to add sort of a little sentiment as well to that. That looks really nice as it is. I don't know if that needs anything. I'm just going to go around here and fill in some of these white gaps. Just with the, I might dumb it down just a touch. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. There we are. It stands out now. So I don't know whether we need anything on our sheets, or if I should just leave them blank. Because it looks quite nice. This stands out more with it being blank. No, I think I'm going to leave it. I think if I put too much on it, it might be too overpowering. Sort of this one is okay, because it's kind of quite busy, so I quite like that. So I could just leave that. I quite like that. Just, yeah, I'm going to leave it. Executive decision. Right, so now we need to just put our not double-sided, put our glue on. Like so. And just push that into place. And then bend that round. Okay. Right, I'm going to just chop off this little bit here because we're not needing that. Just give my little mat a clean. Okay, and then that then is our belly band that's going to hold them all in place. So now I use creativity is good for your soul. So let's see what other ones we've got. Good. We could use some of these ones. These are woodware. Let's go. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. That's one of my favourite of sayings, that one. So let me just put these ones away. I wanted something, whereas these stamps are brilliant because they're small, so you can use them on small projects. Sometimes it's nice just to have a bigger sentiment. So I'm going to use that one. And it's going to go there. So what I'll do is I will stamp it onto some an off-cut piece of card, and get my very, very grubby. So I'm just going to digress a little bit. Now I've this my acrylic block is rather dirty, as you can see. Now, good thing to use to get all of the stays on or archival ink off is just your regular antibacterial hand gel, and it works a treat. So if you just put a little bit on, use a tissue or something similar and just move it round, and you will see instantly all the ink, it does come off. Okay, so that's one, so that's cleaned one side. Then if we turn it over, as you can see here, look, it's as it's come off, and again onto the wipe, and again just onto the other side. they are as good as new, near enough. So it's the alcohol, the antibacterial gel is fantastic. So as you can see, it was dirty. Now it's nice and clean. You can see the reflection in the mirror of where I've got my camera. That's that. It's that clean. So that's a little tip for you. Right. So now you can see it better on my stamp. So now we're going to use the stamp. Now this one I've not stamped before, so it will take a little bit of more ink than what you would do regularly, because they put there's a chemical in the stamp that when you first ink them up, the ink doesn't hold on there, so you might need to stamp it a couple of times for you to get a nice clear image. But I've actually put a lot of ink on that, so let's see if that stamps well. Okay, push it down, and then that's come out beautifully. Look, a little bit at the top, so I might just re-stamp it. And come over here. Now I am going to use a circle punch for this to punch it out. There we go. I'm likey. Right, so let me just put this one away so I don't lose them. Right, so let me go and get my circle punch. Although you may be able to get out, that might work actually. Let's have a look at, I think let me just open that. I think that's the small size, might be too small. Oh, there, that's this. Oh, that's just too small. But that one fits, so you could have that one just about. The only thing is I want to matte and layer it, so a good try though. So let me get my circle punch. Now I'm using the 2 1/4. That should hopefully now these circle punches, they are amazing. I have to say. Now I've had these for a while. They were on Create and Craft. Must be 5 years ago, and they came. There was a whole set of them, different sizes. So you've got the straight edge circles, or you've got the scalloped ones as well. And I use them all the time. They are just amazing. Yeah, they're from EK Success, and they're just a really nice punch. So we've got that one. Now I need the layer one, which is I'm going to just use an off-cut piece of black card and just punch out your layer. Back in there, and there you have then a perfect. There we go. So now you've got a perfect matte and layer with the sentiment in the middle, and then you can go ahead then and decorate the remaining flaps. So let me just. I thought I'd stuck that down. So let's just put some glue on that. and make sure it's straight. Push that down and then lift it up. Now you could as well put get another plain piece of card to cover that. So let's go ahead and do that. So that measures, so if we make that 4, but I think it was 1.5, wasn't it? So 4. Okay, so that works okay on there. You will need to crop the edges again. And I'm going to do the bottom ones as well. Like so. And then that fits underneath. And you can decorate that. So I'm just going to use the purple because that's to hand. And again, you could have this, you could write little messages on this bit as well. So you end up with, put that on there, just add that colour, keeping all the colours the same in that family. And then that can go on there. And then flip that over, and then that's a page done. So you'll need to cut out a scallop square, the biggest size, which I think I've left over here. Oh, it's right in front of me. There we go. Right, I'm just going to cut this bit out. I've just got an offcut there, so I'll be back in 2 ticks. Okay, so then we can glue that on, like so, and then it really makes it stand out. So you might need to put quite a bit of glue on this because it's not a bulky piece, but it's, you know, quite a heavy weighted. So you may need to use your binder clips just to keep it in place. Now I have a little confession to make, and one of my subscribers, eagle-eyed, found my mistake. Now when I came to put my back panel on to my book, I noticed something, and I was hoping, wonder if anybody will notice, and they did. So thank you for that. It did make me giggle a little bit. What had happened was I had put my spine on upside down. So instead of it being there, I put it here, and when I then turned my book over, this one was in the wrong place. It was turned that way. So what I had to do, which amazingly I managed to salvage it, I very carefully took off this one and then took the spine plate off, and I turned them round. So yeah, it did make me giggle because she did spot it. So yeah, thank you for that. So that's why yeah, yeah, so that's why I had to do that. I was trying to get away with it and I'll not say anything to see if anybody noticed, but you did, so it did really make me giggle. And I didn't take offence in case you watched this. It was very funny. Anyway, right, so now we just need to stick our sentiment on and just put a bit of glue on there and on here. Now you could stick this on with some foam tape if you wanted. I'm just going to use glue because I don't want to add too much more bulk to my album because this is pretty bulky as it is. So turn that round and just burnish it in, and then hopefully that's all stuck on. Now I must admit I'm so pleased that I didn't go ahead and decorate these with stamps and things because I think it really stands out with them being plain. Now you could go ahead and maybe put in some plain card or very thin sort of very thick paper and put in some sort of labels where you can you could put little notes and things like that in as well. And I really like this is at the bottom where you get that pop of colour. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. So that then is one page sort of already done in our book. So with the page, I'm not going to stick them together. So what I'll do is I'm going to start at the back of our book. This page is going to be on the back like that because these kind of match each other. You get like a nice contrast between the two colours, so they both stand out in their own right. So to attach them to our hinge, we need some double-sided tape. Now I'm going to use the I'm going to use the 1/4 inch tape if I can find it. This is where you go. It's there, it's there, it's there. As try as I might, I can never end up. I always end up with a messy desk. And I do try when I'm videoing because I don't know if it's a bit off-putting, but I do try. Anyway, stick them in. So that's them out the way. Let's get our pixie powders and put them in our little bag. And that's them out the way. It's another thing. So that's that and that. But no double-sided tape, okay? Have a look. The red line, that might be, yeah. Now this red line, this is just smaller than 1/2 inch and just wider than 1/4 inch. So it's about, I'd say, sort of a one, it's not 1/8, so it's just in between. And this one is good. This one would actually work better because I don't want my tape to go right down to the bottom of my spine. I want it just to sit so that it is mainly along the top edge of the hinge, okay? And you need to do that on both sides. So again, red liner tape. Now another tip for this would be is to put if you're going to make pages like what we've done with them where they're like a sleeve, then you're best maybe to put your double-sided tape on before you've put it in the book. because that way it's on, and you don't then need to worry about it. So let's just take it off, and be careful you don't stick it down. Okay, and then I tend to open it a bit like a sort of a sleeve, and I do one corner first and then I do the next corner, and then we just slot it down into place, and then just at one corner and the other, just run your finger along the bottom, okay, on one side and then again on the other, okay, and then just burnish really well. Now as you can see here, if I'd have put my glue tape all the way down to the bottom, you would end up with a sticky mess here. So that's why it's good to leave that bottom part sort of free, but just keep burnishing it into place to get rid of all them air bubbles. Okay, so that we can then go ahead and glue this one on like that. So you could use, which I might do actually, I'm going to put on one line of double-sided tape, and that should hopefully get it to stick straight away, and then the rest I'm going to glue, and then use the binder clips just to secure it in place. So I might just put a little bit along the bottom. Okay. So these pages, the page sleeves, I'm going to call them, I did give the measurements of how to do that in, I think it was part 2, I believe. But what I'll do is I'll quickly go through it now. Now also in here you'll have a pocket. So we've got a pocket here. Now the pocket is good obviously for a tag. You can put extra tags in there. But I'm actually going to put something over this side and make a bit of a flap. So, but that'll be in the next video. For the page, I'm going to use my 12 by 12s. Now this works ideal with 12 by 12s. I don't know if you can do this if you use A4. I don't think so, because you need that width. So because my page is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, that's the square, I need to double that for my page. No, sorry, it's 5 1/2, isn't it? No, it's not, it's 5 1/4. Yes. Does that make that? Yeah. It's, sorry, it is 5 1/4. Let me just double check. Yes. So your page is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. But because I want to have a flap, we need to double that. So that would be 10 1/2. But then we also need to have a glue tab. So I've worked on the principle of my glue tab being 1/2 inch. So we need to cut our paper at 11, okay, by 5 1/4, and then turn that round, and then that would be 5 1/4. Okay, so you'll then need to have yourself a scoreboard, and you'll need the bigger size scoreboard. So I've just got the School Pal, but there are numerous ones out there. I would suggest getting one that is got 1/8 of an inch as well, so you've got lines, you know, for your 1/8 of an inch measurement, because believe me, you will use those. So once you've got your sheet down and you've got it cut, so you've cut it at 11 by 5 1/4. Okay, so now we need to put the longest edge up against our top part of the scoreboard, and then we're going to score at 1/4 inch, sorry, not 1/4 inch, at 5 1/4. Okay, and then at 10 1/2. Okay, now you will end up with this excess piece. Now this excess piece here is then this is our glue tab. So very carefully I turn it round to fold, because I want to make sure that my fold lines is exact, and I don't want to fold it so that I end up with excess paper, sorry, excess card over one side. So try and keep it so that it's as level and straight as possible, like that. Then once I've done that, I just put my finger in the middle, and then I will burnish out or score the line from the middle to the top, and then from the middle again to the bottom. Now that then creates a really nice crisp fold. Okay, this you'll need to do the same with this one. Now I tend to just give it a bit of a helping hand to get it nice and scored, and then I just kind of keep running my fingers along until I kind of have got the score to the bottom. Okay, so that the two pieces of paper are flat. Once I've done that, I then give it our pressure score, and then we end up, then that makes, so then you would cut your corners off here and here, and then that would just it cuts down on the bulk of your card, okay, of your page. So once you've done that, I then glue along here and then stick down like so, and then you've got a sleeved page, which then you can put over your hinge. Right, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I certainly have enjoyed making it. It's been a lot of fun, and it's nice when you then have got something, you know, you start to get some colour into your book, and it sort of then starts coming to life. And then when you start then to add your photographs and your memorabilia of whatever you're going to put in there, it just takes on a whole new look. It's like one of those books that when you was a child, I don't know if anybody else had them, you would have like a scrapbook, and here in the UK, I don't know anywhere else in the world, but here in the UK we'd have like a big A4 scrapbook that would have sugar paper in, and it would be different colours, and I would stick things in there, like if I was on a train, or if I went to a nice, I visited somewhere nice and we took photographs. You know, get your photographs developed, and then you put them in your book. I'd put in news clippings in there, or if I'd done something really good at school, and I'd stick that in there as well. So it just makes this, it is just a sort of updated version of our scrapbooks that we had as children. So sorry, I've waffled on again. So anyway, if you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and give me a like, and please subscribe. I'm on social media, so I'll put all the links in the description box down below. So just click on the link and it will take you to my page. I have come and find me on Facebook. I'm Tamara Morton, or I also have a page called Posh Cat Crafts, and so come and like me on one of those. That would be brilliant. I also am on Twitter, Instagram, and I have a blog. So whichever is your chosen poison, come and visit me on any of those. Please hit the notification bell, which will be somewhere in that corner, and all that means is that when I upload videos, you will get an email into your inbox, and that will alert you to any new videos that I upload in the future. So I think, whew, well, that being said, I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of coffee. Enjoy your day or night or evening wherever you are in the world, and until the next time, bye.